Hey friends, welcome back to the Maple Leaf Barn. I'm Libby, and today we're talking all about Ranunculus. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thanks for hanging out with us on our flower farm here in Southwest Ohio. We are just super excited to be talking about Ranunculus today. It's one of my very favorite flowers, and we will also be putting together a series of videos on Ranunculus, start to finish, through the entire growing season, through the winter, how you start it, grow it, harvest it, what it looks like in bouquets, storing it, the whole cycle. I mean, really, start to finish, the entire cycle of Ranunculus. If you haven't grown Ranunculus, I definitely encourage you to. They are stunning, and something that I've really enjoyed is providing Ranunculus to clients in our community who have never experienced it before. A lot of times you only see them in really high-end arrangements or for weddings or events, and usually they're very expensive. So I've really enjoyed giving clients Ranunculus in our CSA bouquets, among other things, and it's just a really fun spring flower. I hope you get to grow it this year. I'm down here in the basement, which is where we are starting all of our seeds. If you've been following along with us, you know that my goal was to build a greenhouse or have a high tunnel that I can put our seeds out to grow out there, but that just didn't happen this year. So we're still starting all of our seeds and our Ranunculus and anemones down here in the basement. It gets a little chilly down here, so I definitely try to bundle up just a little bit. And if I can bring a hot coffee with me, that's great too. Leave a comment below if you're a coffee or tea drinker. We love our coffee on our farm, so let me know in the comments if you like coffee too. So first, I just wanted to talk about what am I doing right now with Ranunculus? What did I do a few weeks ago, and where are we as we're approaching the end of January? How are we going about dealing with our Ranunculus, and when is our goal to plant out? Do we have things already growing outside? So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. And so you may have already grown Ranunculus, or maybe you've never attempted to do it. But for the beginners out there, I wanted to show you kind of what we start with. So this is actually a tulip bag that we had our tulips come in, and I just decided to use this as a way to soak our Ranunculus. You'll want to soak it for, I don't know, it just kind of depends on how much time you have. If you can soak it for 3 hours, 4 hours, great. They look kind of weird until they're soaked, and then they plump out a little bit, and that just hydrates them. Some of these corms are one corm that I was able to break down from a larger plant. You'll want to do that after you've already soaked them. Once they're soaked, they're a lot more pliable, and they can be separated much easier than if they're hard and dehydrated. Definitely don't pull them apart unless you've soaked them. But once they're soaked, they just can kind of come apart, and that's what's so great about growing Ranunculus, is because you can turn it into a more profitable business, or you can just benefit your farm or your garden by creating your own supply of Ranunculus. Because you're planting one, it'll make 3 or 4, then they'll make 8, you know, because that's not really great math, but you get my gist. Okay, that's flower math. That's not good. I need more coffee. Okay, let's go over the timeline for when I was doing all of this. December 25th, I decided to go ahead and soak the first 300 batch of corms, and I planted them up into these different trays. I have a couple different things happening, and you can see this I ended up getting a little bit sooner. I think these are probably the 25th, and then these are a couple days later. So they're at different stages, and you'll see people say, oh, well, you need to put them in an open flat tray. You should plant them in a 72 cell tray. I'm here to say you can kind of do whatever you want. Just depends on what you have. If you have a small open tray like this is actually one of the really thin trays that you would put underneath a 72 or 120 tray where it just catches all the water. And then this is actually a 72 cell tray. I have other ones in a thicker, a deeper water catching tray. So whatever you have around, just stick them in there because they're not going to be out here for too long. Okay, let me show you what the corm that's been growing in a 72 cell tray looks like. It looks like this. It looks really good, really healthy. If you are going to grow in an actual cell tray, just make sure that you're potting up every so often so that the roots aren't getting root bound. If you are growing in an open cell tray, when you go to plant them outside, you'll just very gently peel them apart and take them apart that way because all their roots are going to be intertwined if they're growing in a flat open tray. We've soaked our corms, then we've planted them in the different trays, and now it's time to put them someplace. I recommend putting them on a table, a rack, the floor, whatever works for you and your environment. We have grown them in a basement that's been heated and unheated. The unheated basement, I think, was, kind of in between 50 and 60 degrees. And our heated basement here right now, it's resting at a pretty much consistent 62 degrees. I think since it's been really, really cold outside, it's gotten down to like 59. But in any case, you do not want to put the ranunculus on a heat mat. That will really stress them out. They like those cooler days, those shorter days. So don't put a heat mat under them. They will grow on their own. You don't need to help them out. And don't put lights on them until you start to see the green stems coming out consistently throughout the entire flat of ranunculus that you planted. If there's a couple, you still need to wait. And once you start to see the green stems coming throughout the entire flat, then you can start by turning on the grow lights. And especially when you start to see the leaves. Leaves are what need light. So once you see the leaves appearing, you definitely need to start watering a little bit more frequently, and you need to put on the grow lights so they can develop. As far as watering goes, I've always just misted with a spray bottle for those first few weeks as they're really babies trying to expand and grow. Once I start to see the leaves come on, that's when I start to bottom water. If it's in a tray or if it's an open tray, I just kind of sprinkle on water throughout in a zigzag formation, and that's always been okay. There are going to be corms that mold. That's just part of the process. That's just what happens. If you're comfortable with sacrificing them, go ahead and pull them out. Just toss them. Let's talk about the varieties. There's a certain kind of variety, like the romance variety, that I do not grow because you are not allowed to reproduce those. Once you grow a season of romance ranunculus, you must discard them. You cannot keep them. You will be fined if anyone is found out. So don't do it. But I don't know why. I think it's just because it's patented and it's just a really delicate, fancy ranunculus. But the ranunculus that I grow are absolutely stunning, and they're also very full and gorgeous, and I haven't had any issues with them not performing to the highest capability. So we grow a bunch of different colors. We have yellow, pink, orange, salmon. We have some darker colors like maroon, and we've also added white, which is what these are right here. I'm really excited. Sometimes if I want to add just a really special variety and in a smaller quantity, I'll order those corms from someplace like the Farmhouse Flower Farm. I always know that her products are going to be high quality, they're going to produce well, and they're not going to have any disease. So I definitely recommend you check her out if you want to purchase any specialty corms. But everything else came from our wholesaler, and those are those big flats of yellow and pink mostly. So what we'll do is just keep them hydrated, keep them under the grow lights now that they're all producing stems and leaves, And we will be planting these out in the next 6 weeks, hopefully. And I'm hopefully going to have blooms for Easter, or even a little bit before Easter would be awesome. So we will keep you updated on how that's going in the next few weeks. And I hope that you get to grow Ranunculus this season too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.